Yo, dude,
Ah, nice. Nice.
you want my sword?
You want to touch swords?
From one man to another, you can have my sword.
I think you should keep your sword to yourself.
Sword,
I think you should keep that. Your sword's touching me right now. It's a little hard.
You don't gotta make it weird, man.
Come on, it's DayZ. What else do we got to do?
Escape From DayZ, a mod that really showcases what Nikita's thoughts were on how Tarkov could be like in the future, and honestly, I have some mixed feelings about it. On one end, I can actually play a game finally without it actually destroying my computer and its RAM usage, but on the other end, it's kind of difficult and actually a lot harder than what Tarkov ever could be. Wow. Let's talk about the first thing, and that's... With this game, it's an open world survival extraction shooter, and honestly, it's not too bad and it's not too shabby for a mod. I mean, there's a lot of love that was put into this mod, as you can tell. The gameplay itself looks very similar to Tarkov if you decide to imp up the FOV to 120 and call it a day. And there's a bunch of loot that is resembled from Tarkov, but there's also loot from DayZ that you can use in Tarkov's weapons, materials, clothing, armor, whatever else. And obviously they have the basics of the traders you can go to. There's a central hub basically that acts like a hideout or a trader outpost, which allows you to trade to whoever you want. And there's also traders outside the map as well. Mechanics outside the map, fences outside the map, and the light keepers also outside as well. It's kind of like a bigger risk, bigger reward kind of deal where you go out of your way to find these traders, trade items with them, and get those things back to base. It's a wonderful experience. But it's got your basic extraction shooter stuff. There's a lot of loot to find. There's a lot of boxes you can open up with keys. There's a lot of loot that you can use for your weapons as well. And at the Trader's Outpost, there's also the flea market, which you can do player to player, or you can actually talk with people and negotiate how much money they're willing to spend for your item or vice versa. Now, even though this is very similar to Tarkov, there are some unique features. For example, there are airdrops that happen very frequently on the maps, which also have a little surprise to them. Here it is. Oh, I see. Ah, shh. That's the care pack. Oh my god. Climb, 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 climb. That's the care pack? Surrounded by zombies too? Okay, well. Ooh, that guy has some gear on him. At least one of those guys will have some good loot on him. Let's... Oh, no. I want to lay down for a second. Switch. This. Bunch of zombies around the care pack. Not really a good position to be in. Sound like they're all inside though. Shut up. I wonder if I can get on this gate. Glitch the system. Okay, well, I guess we cleared that out. Though I'm a little afraid of people might be sniping there. Ooh, that. Oh. Fuck the bullets. Yep. Flat X. Oh, we need to get out as soon as possible. Oh my god, and there's an extract nearby. We get to extract, we call it good. It is. Oh, that's sick. Oh, my heart's racing. Yes, that's right, zombies. There's a whole slew of zombies you gotta face off and try to kill in order to go to these high POI areas. And what's cool is that they even have a quest system that allows them to implement like kill 50 infected or kill 250 infected for the day, and you get those like daily quests done, which is very unique because I don't think Tarkov really has a good PvE system. But when you play DayZ, it's not really that good either, but it's better to try to kill infected instead of headshotting scavs from a distance. Now, other things is that there's vehicles on the game. You can fly helicopters, drive around, basically what the normal DayZ experience would be like. Imagine basically if DayZ's mechanics and simplified like vehicle structures and helicopters and stuff like that was basically imported to Tarkov and with an open world map. That's what this mod basically portrays. Now let's first talk about the pros of this game before I talk about the cons, because there is a lot of cons to the pros that I have personally, but let's start off with the first thing, and honestly it's just the way it's designed. I do really like the way this game plays out. It feels a lot more hardcore as an extraction shooter. I do feel as though that playing around with weapons, finding attachments, finding loot is far better than what you would experience in Tarkov, and honestly, the PvP fights are pretty good. Now, I didn't really experience too much PvP, especially on the server that I was on. There's basically 50 people out of 100 people that can normally play on Livonia, but the other maps on Nomolosk and Chernarus would have a much more better experience or better outcome when you want to have more PvP fights. And I wish I was able to get more footage on those maps, but the second thing I really like about this is it adds in the survival aspect that Tarkov tries to replicate, but it's far better overall. You can run a lot longer, you don't really reduce down energy or water within like 15 minutes. It takes about a whole couple hours before you actually get dehydrated or very hungry. There's also the medical system and a lot of other features that Tarkov has, but it's just better overall. And I love it because I've always hated, wasting stamina or wasting water on Tarkov when you only spend an hour playing it. It's really tedious and annoying, but in this one, you can focus more on trying to fight and get the loot that you want versus trying to survive. But there are the survival aspects. There's broken limbs, there's medical stuff, you have a blood loss system where if you lose too much blood, you can faint over time out of the blue. But I love it because it's a lot better overall. I think the survival aspect of DayZ should be implemented into Tarkov. Not really per se the stupid shit in DayZ, but more like the simplified health system and food and water system. Now the third thing, and obviously this is just another normal DayZ thing I wish Tarkov had, and that's there's no inertia. There's none of that shit. I think movement in this game is pretty good, especially for how far you're running. You're not going to be able to like jump around or bunny hop all too easily, but you are able to climb over stuff a lot easier. You're able to lay down fully, spin around, do a lot of other movement that I think DayZ has done better than Tarkov ever could. And the only reason why I talk about this is because I think a lot of people didn't really like the inertia update when Tarkov released it, but over time it did get a little bit better and you're able to basically climb over stuff, and I feel like it's really cool that DayZ has this already and they basically perfected it. But there's also some downsides to the movement. Since it's an older game, the movement does feel a little bit more sluggish, a little bit slower than what you'd normally expect, and the jumping and trying to do maneuvers and stuff like that and the way you hold items, it can be a little janky if you're not used to DayZ's mechanics. And honestly, again, go and play a whole separate community server where it's for those who are new to DayZ entirely. What I also think is interesting is having POIs of Tarkov put into DayZ's map. For example, there's the dorms from Customs. You can go in there. There's a second story dorms and a third story dorms. And honestly, I think it's very unique that each part of the map has a certain POI you can locate and go to. There's even the labs area, there's the bunker, and a couple other things as well that I think personally makes things a lot more unique and special in comparison to the other DayZ mods that I've seen before. But it's not just, Tarkov's POIs you can explore. There's also DayZ's map design and POIs that you can explore as well. For example, I went on to this prison raid because I had a key that can unlock a crate that has some high tier loot, and I went in there and holy crap, it was an experience. Please go forward. No. Shit. Okay. Woo! Guess we dropped the bag. The noises I'm hearing is fucking terrifying. Hearing the zombies on metal and stuff. Fuck it. Oh, is there lower part right here? Oh, they're chasing me so badly. Oh god, go, get the fuck out of here. Go, just get out. Not even worth your time. You got everything that you needed. We gone. That had to have been the most insane run that I did ever. That prison run scared the shit out of me. Let's just make sure that we can extract time though. Now let's talk about the cons of this mod and what I don't like about it. First of all, I don't like the starter part of the game. I know obviously if you're playing Escape from DayZ or any extraction shooter, you're going to be starting off really small. You're not going to be able to get that much loot. You're not going to be able to make millions of dollars off the whim unless you're super lucky and find a lot of rare loot. Because when you look at this personal storage, when you're level 1, you only have 50 squares. In comparison to Tarkov's like 100 plus that you start off with, this is really tedious and annoying. I feel as though that they should amplify this to 100 instead so that you're able to get at least a couple loadouts or like hold up some items that you need to upgrade to get to level 2 storage or level 3 storage. But to be honest with you, I'm just not a big fan of it. Now, the second thing I don't really like about this mod is the base building, and I will talk about this a lot, especially with DayZ entirely. It just makes it a lot more difficult overall to deal with these teams that are online almost 24 hours a day in a clan, fucking going back and forth, trying to gather resources, all that shit. With this being an extraction shooter, I don't feel like making your own hideout is something that is good. I understand like upgrading traders, upgrading the hideout storage, but I don't like building your own place because I've seen this before in Rust, and honestly, I don't want to see that, especially in this mod. I wish base building was removed, just not my thing. And the third thing about this mod that I really don't like is a lot of the times you're basically staying at the hideout that you're at a lot more than you are going out and trying to find loot or trying to extract. The reason why I say this is because it is pretty tedious to move around a lot of stuff in DayZ. The UI system is also really annoying. You basically are trying to scroll through each quest line, trying to figure out which quests you want to do and which order you should do them in, or which ones are good for starters and which ones are good for later down the line when you have better reputation built overall. I do like the traders having a in general reputation system where if you go and get 2,500 points, you upgrade all the traders to level 2, level 3, level 4, etc. But I'm just not a big fan in the way that the hideout is designed from the start, because it's really tedious to organize everything that you've collected and all that stuff. And the UI system, I wish it was a little bit more streamlined, a little bit better to easily just get out and, you know, remove all the stuff that you don't want, sell it all, or trade it, or whatever else. This mod is really meant for those who are hardcore for extraction shooter games, and I think that's fine, but at the same time, I do find it very difficult as a newcomer to join in and try to go up the ranks as much as anyone else. But I really do think that this mod has a great community. I think it's really fun to join the community, talk with people, have a good time. It's honestly a blast seeing people very much nice and communicative. And if someone says something or says something raunchy, there's usually a moderator who's there who instantly just bans that person and calls it a day. And I love that. There's automatic bans that happen if someone says something, and it's great. Now, there is a second thing we got to talk about, and that's I feel as though that there is a big problem with DayZ in general, and a lot of people can't really join in on it so easily. I think a lot of newcomers, or newbies for that matter, have a very big and difficult time joining in DayZ. And I'm just talking about DayZ in particular. I'm not talking just about Escape From DayZ. I think that mod should be a whole separate review, which I am making that happen. But with DayZ, I feel as though it's very difficult to join into DayZ because there's not that many ways, or a tutorial for that matter, for people to understand how the game works, or a map that's dedicated for newbies to learn and try to survive on that map. I also think there's a lot of just forest areas on certain maps like Chernarus and Livonio that I think personally I'm not a big fan of. I wish there was more of a big city map where it's just a bunch of buildings or a bunch of suburbs area or whatever else in order for people to enjoy it. Now, there is a DLC coming up called the Badlands, which I think is going to be very interesting once that releases. Badlands look like it really has a lot going for it, and I'm hoping that there's less trees and forests and a lot more sands and flatlands and a lot more PvP experience, because I want to see people from afar and be able to have those fights and not always be dodging and weaving like I'm in Star Wars Episode 6. You know what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to make is that DayZ in general is very hardcore, and this mod amplifies it to 11 in the best way possible, but also makes it very difficult to enjoy it when they have stuff that is part of DayZ that isn't really a good experience overall. I would highly suggest trying to find a community-made server that's dedicated for people who are newer, or even try some deathmatch community servers just so you can experience the way DayZ's PvP is designed. And the final thing I want to talk about is... So this is going to be more of like a personalized thing. You can skip this if you want to. But yeah, for the most part, I'm doing a lot better. I'm mentally doing a lot better. I got a new cat. I love her to death. Her name's Gabby, and she's a sweetheart. We also got a new dog. Her name is Rusty. So this is Gabby. We got her at a Humane Society shelter. You want to say hi to the camera? You want to look at the camera? Oh, just don't knock over stuff, okay? There you go. But yeah, honestly, it's really a big deal for me to talk about this because I feel like mental health should be talked about a lot more than it's already talked about, because it's something that makes a lot of people have an easier time in life if their mind is already on the right track. But yeah, for the most part, that's really about it. If we got a new cat, we got a new dog, we are doing a lot better mentally, and for us family in general, we're doing a lot better. I'm very happy about it, and I'm experiencing a lot more fun getting out of my comfort zone, getting out of VR. VR just seemed like a big hassle to make videos on, to be honest with you. It's a big pain in the ass. But that's it for me, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Deuces. Take care, y'all.